Turning and bolting, the slot angel didn't want to stay. They chased, rounding nearly 90 corners. They lost him again. Jack knew Carlami hid somewhere, so the best buds split up. When Negri cautiously entered, Carlami, like a lurking ninja, gave him a friendly touch. Thanks to Negri's trusty magic cane, he faced off with the bearded man's foot model machine. At that moment, Jack heard the commotion and rushed to assist while Negri delivered a flying kick that sent Carlami into the stratosphere. He then grabbed anything nearby and started to brawl. With one snip, Carlami got so mad he forced Negri into a corner. As he aimed to take Negri down, the foot model machine short-circuited. Jack unplugged it. In a swift counter-attack, Carlami was left helpless and ironically ended up by his own foot model. But Negri was like, no biggie. Let's just call Langston, and in the next moment, Langston's phone rang. Little did they know, Langston was feeling generous because he had already planned for what's next. After Lasser's demise, he bribed an insider to get the driving logs. He found out about a motel he frequently visited, so he sent some henchmen to check it out. Guess what? Langston had a lab in Rockland County. He needed Jack and his buddies to hand over their weapons and sit tight until his deal with Ian was wrapped up, but Jack was clearly not about to make it easy. He fake complained that Negri had been savagely beaten up by the bearded guy, leaving him all alone in the group. Jack, being the seasoned con artist that he was, successfully pulled the wool over their eyes. They agreed to meet up at night, but Negri was like, no way that's gonna fool Langston. After 30 years of undercover, he'll figure it out. Jack knew better, but at least they could buy some time, so he quickly called the Void to cash in on a previous promise. And 2 locks plus an army, please. Yeah, I need those. We were all set to wrap things up by nightfall. When night came, Jack and Negri showed up at the base, but they didn't just rush in. They began scanning the area carefully only to find the base was not just crawling with cameras but to wander with electricity everywhere. So an external assault was out of the question. The only way was for Jack to rescue Solo. But Negri wasn't sure. Who knew what craziness Langston would come up with next? He had a point there. After all, we've seen Frank's crazy files. Nuts. Killer. No way. Jack. Jack didn't respond, but slowly pulled out a pin from his phone book and thought, I just want to lie down and finish my last preparations. Jack boldly walked into the research base and saw old Don, the guy who was trying to kill him at all costs, and the buddy who was utterly tortured. His anger was about to explode. As the base door slowly closed, the ultimate showdown began, but Langston was completely clueless, thinking he had it all in the bag. Spotting Jack leaning against the wall, he thought he was sure to win. He even imagined the scenes of throwing this big guy off a helicopter. What a joke, but little did he know, Jack had a surprise waiting for him. Langston's henchman wheeled out a gurney and asked Jack to hop on himself. Jack was caught off guard and started to laugh, about to give them a lesson, but even with his hands tied, he effortlessly took down those little pawns. After the call, Langston snapped back. Where? I saw her looking for a friend in the woods. Old chap had no clue. Little did he know, he got stabbed himself. He knew he couldn't take Jack down without Negri, so poor O'Donnell became the scapegoat. Whoa, hold on. Sit down, we need to have a talk. However, what surprised him even more was that outside the base, Negri was taking action, aiming his sniper rifle at 2 guards. 1, 2, 1, 2, it was chanted. He then quickly called the WA support team. 3-minute police notification, we're notifying ATA. 3-minute police notification received. Meanwhile, Langston, completely oblivious, was using all his might to beat Jack. He was furious, marking everyone from Swan who had ruined his get-rich-quick scheme like he was at a parent-teacher conference. He seemed angry. Langston advised Jack not to be stubborn like his teammate. He intended to spare Swan face. Where is he? Everyone's eyes widened instantly, as large as saucers. But just when they hoped Swan was still alive, Langston walked over to a nearby cabinet and pulled out a jar filled with eyeballs and fingers. See? I don't need these, got it? Turns out he had already taken Swan out, keeping his fingerprints to sign a few papers. Meeting's done, I need to hand over $650,000, Langston ordered his men. Get Dixon and O'Donnell on board the chopper. Once I grab the money, we'll deal with that naughty boy Jack. Little did he know, overhead, 3 former Navy SEALs were slowly descending. Negru was about to praise the War Action Team when he saw O'Donnell and Dixon being wheeled out, causing his heart to sink. Meanwhile, Langston had just finished a round with Jack and started packing to escape, completely unaware Jack had pulled a disappearing act. In chaos, Jack seized a gun, switching to kill mode. Outside, 2 henchmen sensed trouble and rushed back. But they met Negro's warm kisses and were sent straight to the northwest. He swiftly entered the base. As things turned dire, Langston panicked and unceremoniously dropped his minions like a hot potato, choosing to flee solo. Thanks for watching everyone, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.